It's our 40th episode.
Our 40th episode.
You're still 40, right?
Yeah.
You've
forever.
this 40 for the 20th time this year?
19th time.
20th?
Going to be the 20th.
Okay. So for the 40th episode, the theme of this episode is I'm having a midlife crisis. Sorry for those listening in here. Let's talk about it. What's up with that? What's up with midlife crisis?
Why are you asking about midlife?
I'm not asking
You're
for
in
me.
your 20s.
I'm not asking for me. Why do we face crises?
No, I think
As
for
we
me,
age.
maybe I'll talk about this, like coming to the age I'm coming to, the only recurrent thoughts, I didn't have a problem turning 40, I didn't have a problem turning 50. I think I have not a problem, just a question, have I been honest to me? Have I been honest to me? That's, if at all for me, a crisis is, have I been true to me? I've been true to my work, I've been true to my family, I've been true to what I have to do. And I think the question of have I been true to me is showing up. Have I done what mine to do for me? Nothing to do with anyone. So I think midlife crisis is when you become selfish, in the sense that you are looking at you and to see, were you right by you? Am I right by this? Am I right by that? Am I right by my work? Am I right by everything? Am I right by me? That's why they always say midlife crisis is when people take sannyas. In the East, they say people take sannyas, people go to meditate, people do all that. Well, I did that much earlier. In my 20s, I was a sannyas.
Why do you think we face these crises as we age? They say that when you turn 25, 30, you have a quarter life crisis. Then when you turn 40, 50, you have a midlife crisis.
I think it's taking stock. You see, I think one of the things I am assuming, I'm not an expert in this, but from my observation, there is a natural biological momentum. When you're in the 20s, you want to explore, you want to try many things. At 30, you kind of specialize in something, you settle down a bit. At 40, you kind of get grounded. You really get rooted. You get defined at 40. At 50, hopefully the definition has come to pass. You are completely defined, And at 60, you probably come to something. At 70, you come to something. At 80, you come to something. I really think it's the biological grip changing. They said, something your mother was saying to me, they said, women, when they hit menopause, a hormone is removed from their system. When they are young, when they have children, a hormone is introduced, and that hormone makes them care about the child more than themselves. And they said when they hit menopause, that hormone is removed, and that's why most amount of divorce happens, most amount of crisis happen, because they are beginning to take stock of that is not there. But hear this, I think it is right. At 20, you must be in that direction. At 30, you must be in that direction. At 40, you must be in that direction. Something once Gregory told me, He said, when you turn 50, you go through a crisis. When you survive, you're okay. When you turn 60, you go through a crisis. And if you survive, most people don't survive it. My suspicion is, if I reflect back, in my 20, I was on a different biological function. When I was 30, my biology was different. My hormones, I don't know what, my energetic state. When I became 40, the energy became different. I have a feeling it's a very natural happening. The problem is we might be holding on to something of the past, right? So my insight about midlife crisis or any crisis is go with it. It is you changing, and it's a necessary death and rebirth. You see, if a woman turns 40, a lot of things are not going to be possible, even though you still can, but in the natural rhythm of things. So something changes. I think us fighting it is problem.
Why do you think we fight it so much?
Sorry?
Why do you think we fight it so much?
Because we were not right by it before. We missed it. When you're 20, if you're not 20, when you're 30, you're not 30, then you're catching up. I don't think it's anything wrong. Calling it a crisis is what is wrong. That means I didn't do right. Like I'm at age I'm in, and I'm now looking at me and I'm going like, okay, what is mine to do? And it's very liberating too, you know. My children are grown. I've done what I have to do. I've paid my due. I've lived my life. And it's not something spiritual, you know. It's not something, because I've been meditating since my 20s. I became a master by the time I was 30. It's not about that. It's not about that aspect. I think what is it about is a kind of truth of where your biology is at. You understand?
Yeah. We can look back on our teen years, 13 to 19, and say, that was fun. I'm glad that's behind me.
You know that was a lifetime ago for me, right?
That's the only age I can look back to because
Yeah.
I'm so young.
Thank you.
But when people talk about looking back on their 20s, right, it's harder to let go of that than almost anything else.
You see, what is hard to let go is the accountability. At 20, you had the whole life ahead. You can mess around. You can do all kinds of nonsense. At 30, probably it's time to really get to work, you know, get serious. At 40, you are not carving yourself out. You are molding. You know, they say about 40 is when the human biology matures. Have you become the person you can be? At 50, how well did you live what you carved out to be? I think at 60, you are liberated to think about you. This is very strange. You know, a lot of the wisdoms of the Lao Tzu and all the Dattatreya, all the masters, I mean, in general, I don't know whether Dattatreya was, are the wisdom of a very older person, you know. That's when they say, look at yourself. What do you want? What is... And I have a feeling there's some error with that philosophy when it's imposed on a young person. When I was growing up, you guys were the most important thing. The family was the most important thing. It is. Am I important? Of course I am. In regards to that, I was not important to me for me. I was important for the role I was playing. I was important for the goal I was seeking. You understand? I think at every age you come, and I don't know how to do this. And I have to learn. To really, like if I want to eat a meal, I'm not thinking what you like. I'm looking at what I like. And it feels weird. Like it's almost borderline selfish, you know. It's almost like I've done my job, now it's time for me to pay attention to me. And I think it's a biological rhythm. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just a natural prep. Like we were just talking before the podcast. Remember when the cat died? The cat knows how to withdraw. It doesn't want to be with us. It wants to go somewhere alone and die. Your question is, why does it become a crisis, right?
Yeah.
I think you are not honest to your age. If you're 20, be stupid a little bit. When you're 30, start getting wise, play, enjoy, expand. At 40, you better be the real deal. So at every age, you are earning the next age.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, I never thought I'll reach this age. I was living such a precarious life when I was young. Every time a birthday came, I said, did I survive this long? Because there was a time when I was living, I didn't know whether I'll see my next birthday for whatever reason. Right? So for me, like, wow. And I think that's exciting, you know. You know why it's exciting? It's not the same anymore. It is very different. Now I'm almost looking to hand over. Before I was looking to handle, before I was looking to do, establish. Now I'm looking for my next.
But you know, you spoke about like the reason why people tend to have midlife crisis is they're taking stock, right? And maybe they're like misunderstanding what they're seeing. cut this out if it's too much. But you were talking about it recently. You're like, oh, I don't know if I did anything for myself. And then I told you, I was like, I don't think you want to do anything for yourself.
Yeah.
I think you had me and Aishi and you had Amma, and then you kind of you had the work you were doing, and lucky that you had those things because you had a place to funnel what you did.
Yep.
But because as you're reflecting, if you can get stuck in the thought that, oh, I never did anything for myself. And then you can go crazy and do this and do that. If you don't take that bit further reflection to, did I actually have anything for myself that I really wanted to do?
Right. There was nothing for me. And even now when the biology kicks in, I'm laughing at it. And I know it's just my biology.
But some people, they're not taking that further consideration. They're just like, oh my God, I lived my whole life for my family. Now I'm going to get a divorce and I'm going to buy this sports car and I'm going to go and do this and that. And then...
And I think that's a misinterpretation.
Yeah.
There is a misinterpretation. Yeah. I don't even know how to enter this subject saintly. It's a very beautiful subject. I think there's a crisis at every age. At every age, there's a crisis. Every age you're looking at something and you have to die and be reborn. Maybe at this age, I must say, well, I take stock and I did the best I could. Good. I get that rest. The natural impulse will always be negative. Like I've heard somebody says, oh my God, I busted my entire 30th. He was turning 40 and I said, I messed up my entire 40 years of my life. I said, good. Now you can really get serious. Because you have done everything that you shouldn't do. Now you can do what you have to do. But I think it's a question of personal survival. You have to, like what you said, take one step deeper, look at it, and see how you can land in this rightly. How you can land in this rightly. Maybe my crisis might be, I'm old enough and probably I cannot be there for others as much as I could before. That could be the crisis. Like when I'm young, I could do many things. Maybe the crisis is, my God, I'm not young. I can't do as much as I could. It could be that is the same person who said, okay, if there's nothing in it for me, I want to do for somebody. I'm getting old now. I don't know how much I can be there for another. Maybe that can be the crisis too. So I think identifying the crisis would be the key. But the most beautiful part about some of these ages when you cross is you don't care that much anymore. You really, a lot of the things that you think you cared about, it doesn't mean anything. I think it's a biological experience, not the experience of the Atman, of the being. I don't think so. I think it's just your body.
Yeah, because like even things like, for me, it's like I already got a lot of the early 20s partying and all the naughty things out of my system when I was in my early 20s.
See, I didn't even know she was partying.
I mean, in addition to studying very hard.
That's all I knew.
I got it out of my system by a time I was like 25. Now I don't want it anymore. And I look at people in their 30s and see like some of them still are partying, they're doing drugs, this and that. I'm just like, isn't it? Aren't you done with that?
Yeah. Which means you are answering every point of your life. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? To answer. The inability to answer or the refusal to answer, is that the crisis?
Or is it the refusal to let go?
Yeah. You can't answer. To answer, you have to let go. Now you're not that age. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's over. And maybe the refusal is the addiction. Like sometimes people say, oh, the what do you call it, the 50 is the new 40 and the 60 is the new 50. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? These are all words that sounds really good. But there is a certain beauty to maturity, I'm telling you, and you have to earn it. I would not give up being this age. I would love to have a younger body, I suppose, a more fitter body, but I will not exchange. I don't want to go back even 10 years. The wisdom I have, the clarity I have, the let go I have, So I think every age you have to earn the right to enter there. So there's always something to look forward to.
And I guess you can't even enjoy the benefits of that age when you are so stuck on the fact that you don't have the things you had at the previous age.
Right. But you're missing what you have at this.
Exactly. You can't even see it because you're like, oh, but I don't have that. I can't like run as far and I
Yeah.
can't drink as much.
And that is silly. That is being stupid. then you are blinded. Then you are in denial. Then you're in denial. I can't wait if I turn 80 or I turn 90, the wisdom I would have or the dementia I might be living up. But I can't.
As long as you can keep showering yourself, will keep you around.
If I can shower myself and clean myself, they'll keep me around. You heard that, Anba?
If you thought we can give Anba the job of showering you.
No, just have a room, push me inside on water splashes, then just take me on the other side, put the Pampers on and... No, but you're asking an important question. I don't think you are talking about midlife crisis. I think we are talking about crisis itself of being who we are. Right? And the crisis is I was not true to what my biology was ready for at that time. Right?
Yeah, I see that a lot. Like I see people, right? Who I remember when I was like 19, 22 at my cheekiest age, some of my friends are like, Akshi, I would never do that. I would never drink that much. And I'm like, whatever, I'm going to go have fun, whatever. And now I see them and they're 30 or almost 30 and they're acting the way I did when I was that age.
There we go.
And I'm like, it's not that it's beyond you. It's not beyond any of us.
You see, with each maturity, a new horizon of life opens up, Like if now I speak, I'm speaking to leave something for you. You cannot say I'm speaking for you. What could I be seeking at this age? Fame? What am I going to get? Girlfriends and what? You understand? And it's a beautiful age. If I do, I'm really doing it for doing sake. Right?
Yeah.
Like this, I'm talking to my daughter.
Well, you could probably get a couple of girlfriends from this podcast.
Yeah,
The 50-year-old ladies seem to like you.
My mother used to say when I was born, the whole village old ladies wanted to marry me. It is coming back again.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. It's all good. Middle-aged ladies, yeah. Yeah. No, but listen. I think listening to this, one thing I must say, there's something serious about this too. I think the sense of regret, the sense of not being true to oneself could be what comes out as a crisis. And I know once you miss an age, you miss an age. I remember when I was a kid, I thought I was made out of rubber. I can bounce. I can spar. I can fight. I can jump off things. I can break a nose and fix it and come back. Now I'm like made out of glass. But do you know what? That demand is not there too. I can live a gentler life. I can live a better life. So I think what we are trying to acknowledge is that there is a biology too. We are not just a psychology. We are a biology.
But what advice, I guess, would you give, right, to people? Because you can look at it and you can feel very jealous. Even when I go to a dance class and now I see girls who are like 10, 15 years younger than me. They're so young. And I look at them dance and I'm like, oh my God, I can't dance like that anymore. I used to be able to dance like that. I have the energy to go, jump down, up. And now I'm like, I do it once. I'm like, okay, I sit down and catch my breath. And I'm just like, of course, I'm a little bit jealous, but I'm like, oh, nice for them. But a lot of people they're like, why can't I do that anymore? It's there.
You see, the only example I can give is when you're a young fighter, you use brute.
Yeah.
When you're an older fighter, you use wise. Brute and wise don't go together. You have to lose the brute to have the wise. There you're slugging away. When you're older, you're far more a tactician. You're far more aware. If you fight with the law of brute, you will lose. But this fellow will outwit the brute. Right? So you are not seeing what you're gaining. You can't do all the flip and dance, but you can hold you with such style and elegance. It's like you see Meryl Streep. I love her. When she was young and when she's older, what she had to do a lot, now in a blink she's showing it. So I think there is another aspect, but we are only caught with that. I think it's our conclusion. Only if I'm young, everything is good. Only if I'm. No, 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 no. I think you are not wearing where you have come. You are not wearing where you have come. Like maybe what you said, like my body is saying, well, it's time for you. And you are reminding me, I've never wanted anything for me. And I just have to survive the body kind of tickling me and saying, hey. And that's it. You know what I mean? And that's it. And I go like, yeah. And now when I do, even though I do for all, it feels like I'm doing for myself. Maybe previously it really felt like I'm doing for another, not for me.
Yeah. No, and it's like I could understand, like we use you as an example, feeling angry, like, oh, people made me, everybody made, I'm resentful, like you
Am I?
may not you, but you can feel that way, like some, of course, in moments, right? Like, oh, because of everybody, I had to be like this, I didn't get this, and but then like when you take a moment to further reflect, did I want it?
No. No. And maybe that's all it takes, a little reflection. And maybe the biology is kicking in to think that so I can become even more selfless. Even I can, despite having the urge to make it about me, and I'm saying, no, I am this person. Maybe at every age you are being tested of your integrity. And the failure of the test of the integrity is the crisis.
And maybe it's also that you do need to care more about you because your body not as strong as it used to be.
No, who said? Who said?
But physically, you know what I mean? That's the biology.
Yeah.
I
don't think it is not as strong. It is not as responsive. It doesn't recover it as fast. You know what I mean? No, it's a very big subject. You know, there's a lot something to do with the brain, a lot of something to do with the prefrontal, your whole system changing.
I think also for parents, like only once your children are kind of settled, you can kind of like, okay, like I don't have to think about them all the time.
Right.
That's also that shift, and it usually happens 50-60.
Like for me, what happened, if you want to know, Abhishek, when whatever happened to Appa at 30, when it happened at 29, I knew something that was not known by most people. I came to something which is very rare. I stumble upon something which is not common, right? And I was never interested in telling anybody about it. It took 12 years, I even mentioned it, and that also because of some situation, I had to say what I've come to. So I didn't want to tell anybody what I've come, but I had a responsibility of putting it down. Now, maybe after writing hundreds of books, thousands of talks, putting so many programs down, I feel like I have done justice to what happened to me. Like I discovered something. Let's say I woke up to something and oh my God, this is it. And that was what was driving, right? Maybe what is happening is I think I've done a pretty good job. Now I can like chill. I can take my focus off, right? And maybe taking that focus off is what feels like a crisis. You get what I'm saying? Maybe that's what every age is, that you have an expression of that age. And once you finish expressing, you have to move to the next stage. And it's like a death and a rebirth, you know? Like lately, I've been thinking, even my work, I'm telling a lot of people, it's time for you all to take this and run with this. Take this and do what you may. I've done what I can so far. It's almost, I have given what I have out there. Now it's up to you guys. Come on, do what you have to do. It is different. It's like you're building a house. Once you build a house, now you have to live in the house. It's a different thing. You're in the momentum of building. Now you have to kind of change, you know. And I think that death and rebirth doesn't happen often. And life doesn't, the way we live life doesn't support it. So maybe the question is, do you live a life in which you can change, transform? You can renew yourself. You can again become you, but after a change, a modification. Re-you again, but different. You follow what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for you now, I can see it. You're in late 20s, you're going to go study. And I think it's also a crisis.
Yeah.
You're not a kid anymore. You're not in your 20s. That is over.
This is my pre-30 crisis.
Yeah, pre-30 crisis. Because you know what? After this, you have to have an identity. That you are birthing an identity as you. Before this, you could live off as your mother's daughter, my daughter. You could live off a lot of things, But now, no. None of that will do. You have to come into the picture. And if you're addicted to remaining the past, then this is a crisis. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe you're not talking about midlife crisis. You're talking about the crisis of evolution. The crisis of evolution. The crisis of when one ends and one begins.
I think it's also leaving behind the old comforts.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's about living the comfort. Like for me now, it's very beautiful, If Appa tell you, I have to trust. Like you're doing this, I'm trusting you. Go, darling. Ask the question. Take this, give it to the world. I'm happy. Like I have to trust you. I have to trust somebody else. I'm not in the driver's seat as much anymore. And I must survive that. Like I was driving, you were sitting next to me. Now you are driving, I'm sitting next to her. And that was bad, Anba. That was bad. Teaching how to drive was bad. I quit. I sent her to school.
We got off on the side of the road, had a shouting match. And
she was driving the Jaguar Sports, Anba. So I was worried she's going to slam and something will happen. So now what is crisis? Now let's talk about crisis. It's the relay, the passing of the baton. That a next phase. Now, can you accept the next phase? Sometimes I see, your friend had a baby, right? Your friend had a baby? I'm sure that look will come one of these nights. I seen it in your mother. Your mother was 25 when she had you, I think. I remember one day coming home and looking at her eyes and looking at her, Remember for 5 years, she just sat read book with me. No kids. We were just traveling everywhere, having the best time of our life. I remember when you all came along, we love you, we hugged, we kissed, and I one day walked in and I was watching her sitting breastfeeding you at night, and she had the look in her eyes, Anba, and I still remember it. It's like, that is over. Yeah, that was over. Now you are. Right? And I saw the same look, Anba, when she left Apshi in New York. She was wailing in the car, Anba. We said bye. And you know what she did? I must put this on record. She took me to the liquor store to buy her a bottle of alcohol because she cannot buy. That's what she did. I don't know whether you're going to get arrested.
The drinking age in Malaysia was 18, okay?
Yeah. There was not a.
There's 21.
And that was what I did for my daughter. Bought her a bottle of alcohol and said, good luck, have a good time. And I entered the car. Your mother was wailing. And the driver of the car, when he dropped us off, he was a Middle Eastern guy or something.
I think he was a Hispanic guy.
A Hispanic guy. He said, give me your daughter's number. I'll go keep an eye on her. I'm talking about, he was like, what was that? Many things, lah. Many things. My daughter, my leaving behind. Oh my God, is she going to be okay? But I remember when she came home, the look, when Aishi left. She and I were back in the house looking at each other and go like, what now? What now? Because we filled our life with that, now a new phase come, right? Now she can't wait for you all to leave the house. Go. Because already adjusted.
Yeah.
So now, what is crisis? You think you can escape change? Not a chance. So as I'm turning 60, Anba, I'm going to go buy myself a plane.
Okay, no. Why don't you buy yourself an Aston Martin? Or you could buy yourself a 2-door navy blue convertible Maserati, which I could drive.
You see, Anba?
2-door.
Now I'm going to go buy myself a yacht, and I'm going to buy myself a small plane.
Please don't buy yourself a plane.
Why not?
Well, I'll take the yacht.
Yeah. I think at every point you have to die and be reborn. That's it. And I don't think it's going to be easy.
And I think everybody has a small
But the
crisis.
beautiful thing is, it's something new. You're not stuck to the old. So every point of life, something new, if you can embrace it. I have no clue how it's going to be. I have no idea. But it's one hell of a journey. Knowing me, I should be okay. I should thrive in it. You know what I mean? That's what they say. And the most beautiful thing about a person is when you plant a tree that you know you will never eat the fruits of it. And as you get older, being in that space gives one incredible amount of dignity, you know. For the first time, you look at people in a I don't know, in a very bigger sense, you know, you're passing it on. You're passing the torch on. Why would somebody miss that? Why? So I think we all live the crisis. It's not necessarily an age base. What's your friend's name again? Had the baby?
Vasuki.
Rasugi. She had the baby. I'm sure she's going to have that look. I saw
She's
her here.
so happy.
I'm sure. I saw her here. She had no clue. She's big. And now that she has delivered, she will be happy. Of course she's happy. Having a baby. She has a son, right?
Yeah, he's so cute.
All that will be good. But one of these days, he said, this monkey will never leave me. You understand? I'm stuck with this fellow. And he is going to, mommy, mommy, mommy. That's why I always said, I never met, I lost your mother when you were born, you know. Anba, when she was born, I never saw Geeta again. I saw their mother. All right? Now, what are we talking about? Embrace the journey, boys.
And that's the fun of
girls.
it, right?
Eh?
That's the fun of it.
You should make it fun. I don't know whether it's fun. You should make it fun. I think that's where you come in. How do you wake up and live an incredible life? How do you? Like you see, Paul is more than 60. Let's put it that way. It's not
He's about 1,534.
years old.
Yeah.
Yes, Paul? You heard that? 1,534 years old. His wife is only 35, okay?
She's young.
She's young. When he does, and his book just came out, how to create a winning team, right? And all of that. Do you know, you cannot question that man's sincerity. He is giving it away. That a 30-year-old will not have, a 40-year-old will not have, will aspire to, but he owns it.
He's there.
He's there. And come on. That's love. That's true. That is dignity. So many times I say, Paul, speak, Paul. They will hear you. Because it needs from that point. Maybe that's why all our wisdom comes from older people. Because they're actually saying for saying's sake. They're telling you the truth as truth. There's nothing about them involved. And that has to be earned. And I'm not saying when you're early, it's wrong. You are there.
Mm.
So maybe what we must say, the only truth is change. And if we refuse to meet it, we get into crisis.
It's almost like if we yearn either way, I yearn to be younger, I yearn to be older, you're going to miss.
Yeah. You're going to suffer
Yeah.
And maybe for people who listen to this, and right now as you're listening to this, at this point, what is that I must embrace? What is over and what is the new? Like the native Indian have a culture, one particular tribe. When somebody dies, they put them on a boat and they push them out into the ocean and they say, here it goes. But they'll always say, somebody will say, from the other side, somebody says, here he comes. You understand? They always say, don't forget. As they go, they're leaving you, but they're arriving somewhere else, right? So now, is it the fear of the unknown and the addiction to the known? The comfort of the known against the unknown?
It keeps getting better, right?
I don't know, but all I know is I will make it better. Knowing me, I will make it better. I cannot promise you it gets better. Now, when anything drops, my handkerchief drops, it looks so far, right? To bend over and pick it up. So I don't know whether it gets better. But one thing I know for certain, I have the ability to make it better, right? Hoping for it to be better is, nah. So now, maybe what you take away from this is, right now, what is the change that you must embrace? Like they say, you cannot be married and single at the same time. You have to give up being single to be married. There's another human being, right? And if you don't survive that transition, I think you go into crisis, and the crisis destroys everything. I like a Zen master saying, he said, when you're young, everything is possible. When you're older, you know what is probable. Right? And I think that's the bowing. That is the okay, this is where I'm at. And again, will it be better or not? I think it is up to you. I think you create it. You make it so. Right? I don't know whether going 60, 70, 80 is going to be better. It's going to get far longer to pee. God knows what else is.
Jesus.
What else is there? But there is just one aspect. It's up to me. And I don't think that's predestined. I'm just going to be in denial. I'm going to be 40 for the 20th time, and that's that.
He talks a lot now, but he's still 40.
Yeah. If you can be in denial, me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.